Although a single training event can be extremely helpful at introducing someone to specific content, information, procedures, or skills, each individual that steps out of that training will have varying level of learning transfer depending on a number of factors. Some may leave thinking it was helpful, but don't know how to implement the new material. Some will find it worthless because they knew all the material already and could have probably taught the class. It may be perfect timing for some, and they walked away with some great takeaways. This is called learning transfer. Learning transfer is essentially learning a specific skill, concept, procedure, whatever, and then being able to utilize and carry out that learned skill. In this video, we will briefly cover learning transfer to understand how and why adults can sometimes easily pick up on certain concepts or topics, while other topics may take a lot more than just one training session, and even different learning formats to effectively understand or transfer. We will briefly cover the following concepts and examples from the book New Directions for Adult and Continuing Education, Learning Transfer, and Adult Education. These concepts include near and far transfer, high and low road transfer, and positive and negative transfer. We will use the book's example of driving, but in a little different context for these different concepts. Near and far transfer. Near transfer refers to when a new situation is closely similar to the original learning situation. For instance, if you have learned how to drive on pavement, then you can use a lot of those same skills to drive on a dirt road. Now, far transfer is when the original and new situations are dissimilar. Say you know how to drive on pavement and on a dirt road, but that doesn't mean we can drive a race car or a dune buggy. They are vehicles, but the terrain is quite different, and it requires a lot more understanding, education, instruction, and equipment to do so effectively. This is where high and low road transfer come in. Low road transfer is described when a skill is well practiced in a learning setting and a learner can replicate it when the circumstances are similar to the original learning context. Using driving as the example, we get our learner's permit and we learn how to navigate the streets, follow traffic laws, and generally drive the car. So when we go out on a road without our instructor or parent sitting in the passenger seat and drive off to college, we know how to drive the vehicle safely following the rules. High road transfer involves more assistance for a learner to be able to reflectively think about what was learned and then deliberately abstract from the original context to connect it to other contexts. So let's really take the higher road. If we learn how to drive down in the city on pavement and a few dirt roads in the country, we generally know when we need to change the oil, fill up on gas, or change the tires. But now, we're up in the mountains off-roading, on a lot rougher terrain. We can use some of these same concepts, but we now have to gather, reflect, and deeply understand a lot more concepts about how vehicles work, their limits and capacities, and how to fix them, as well as the environment we're going to be driving in. We may have to pack fuel because it's not readily available, and how far can we go before running out of fuel? Is our vehicle high enough to clear some of the rough terrain and obstacles we will encounter? Now, we know how to drive on dirt roads, but do we know how to drive on dirt roads at a steep angle, or in mud, sand, deep snow, or loose gravel? If we have near transfer, then a low road transfer may be quicker and easier. But if we have far transfer situation, it will take more time and probably more than one way to teach and learn this content. For off-roading specifically, we want to be prepared. So we can read up on how to prepare and the skills needed, but we really need to experience it to best learn how to handle different situations, and best to experience it with others who are experienced to make sure that we are doing it safely and the right way for the most effective learning transfer. Now, the last concepts are positive and negative transfer. Depending on if we were introduced to a certain skill or concept in the past and our experience, positive or negative, to that learning experience, it may make learning transfer seamless, but it may make it a lot more challenging. If you went off-roading as a child with someone and there was a major accident or you were stranded for a few days, this would likely interfere with or even prevent learning transfer for anything related to off-roading as an adult. The main point of this video is to explain just some of the different factors that influence learning transfer and why just one training event alone is typically not enough to contribute to the full understanding of skills, concepts, processes, etc.